Welcome to the Deconstructing Data podcast and live stream. I'm Jessie Lezak, fractional CMO at BDEX, and we are graced with Adam Fitzgerald's presence once again. Welcome back to the show, Adam. He's BDEX's Enterprise Sales Director. So it's been a few weeks, but anything new, Adam?
No, it has been a few weeks. It is always a pleasure to be back with you here, Jesse. It's exciting times. You know, we're full steam ahead to close out the year and get 2025 started on a strong foot. So we're very busy in our world, as I'm sure you are, and I'm sure a lot of the folks that we've been talking to are very busy. So it's good to be with you today.
Absolutely glad to have you back. Today on Deconstructing Data, we're thrilled to welcome David Boice. He is CEO and co-founder of Team Velocity and so much more. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Welcome to the show, David.
Thanks, Jesse, and thanks, Adam. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you, David. Wondering if maybe you can kick us off by giving us a little bit of your story and your background and what led you to become the CEO and co-founder of Team Velocity.
Well, it's been a kind of a journey for me. I got into the retail automotive business, kind of happenstance out of college. And a lot of people end up doing that. This is back in the late 80s. So I'm dating myself. But I fell in love with the industry. But at that time, there was really no real technology. But PCs were just coming out. Networks were starting to get installed. And so after about 6 months, I thought it would be a great idea to start my own business with no money, no capital, no real ideas other than putting technology into dealerships in some specific areas that I thought we could help with. So I kind of worked by day at car dealerships and at night on my products, and then I reversed that and really spent the first 5 years in a hybrid role. From then on, I've just kind of been the CEO of, fortunately, a lot of businesses. That first business went on to be very successful. We sold that to a large publicly traded company in 2000. I've just had a series of businesses since then. So I've really kind of been in the same industry or industries. Think of anything with an engine in it, a car, a motorcycle, a boat, an RV, power sports, and providing technology solutions, most of which are data-driven to those industries. So that's kind of how we started this company in 2005. But it was really just a band that's been together over the years, getting back together because we enjoy each other's company and we've had some success together.
Very cool. Well, this is going to be a great conversation, so I'm looking forward to getting into it. Let's go ahead and get into the first topic, which is unifying customer data with Apollo. Could you kick us off on this topic, David?
Yeah, Apollo is the technology platform that we own and we've built from the ground up. And what we wanted was a single source of truth for all of a dealership's data. So think of a car dealership for a second and imagine having kind of an identity graph on every one of their customers that you could create amazingly good personalized experiences online for those customers to complete transactions. So Apollo has to get, in order to do that, you can imagine how many different sources you're pulling into Apollo to create an identity graph on a customer. Obviously, you're bringing in information on the consumer from the dealer's accounting systems. What did they buy? How much did they pay for it? What bank did they use? What's their outstanding loans? What's their service history? And so on and so forth. You've got to also bring in a considerable amount of data from the outside on just basic things like images of cars that they might be buying or the dealer's inventory that they have been looking at or shopping for. Recalls. Does the customer have a recall on their vehicle? Or do they have a service due? I mean, there's probably literally 30 to 40 different data sources that go into Apollo that enrich it to make that identity graph just incredible. And that's what we do it for the most part. We're able to then take that and do some very highly personalized marketing to consumers that give them very rich experiences so that they can not only do business with the dealership once, but the way dealers make money is to retain their customers, to have them come back over and over again. And the easier it is for you to allow them to do business with you without any level of friction, the more often they're going to work with you, more often they're going to do business with you. So that's a little bit about Apollo.
Yeah, that's great, David, and thanks for that overview. I wonder, as somebody that recently went through a car buying experience, and I don't know whether Apollo was empowering any of the folks any of the dealerships that I went to, but I could definitely tell a difference in my experience between those that were using data, using quality data, and kind of having that more unified approach to how they serve their customers. And it definitely makes a difference in the buying process. So I'm curious, maybe you can share with us a little bit some of the more significant barriers that businesses are facing when it comes to centralizing their customer data, and maybe some ways that Apollo helps to overcome those barriers.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, when you went and visited those dealerships' websites, and ultimately you bought a car, it sounds like somewhere, right?
Hmm.
You probably were in like 6 or 7 or 8 or even 10 different systems. You probably, I'll just go for example, you might have been on Google and searching for a vehicle, and there was some company that was handling that for the dealership. And then you clicked an ad and you went to the website. Then there was another company handling the dealership's website, totally different, not integrated. Then on the website, you started getting deeper and deeper maybe into the car, and you went into what they call digital retailing tools. That was probably a third company that is now involved. No integration with the previous two. And then maybe you applied for financing, or maybe you got pre-qualified on a car, and there's a fourth company and even a fifth company involved now. And then maybe you submitted some information to the dealership, sixth company, seventh company. You get the point. The industry that we serve is incredibly fragmented. I mean, fragmented beyond any industry that I've ever experienced. And I know a lot of people in business. And that's just the way this ecosystem has been built over the last 20, 25 years since technology has been so prevalent in the industry. And these are large companies that do single point solutions. And so what Apollo has done is allows a dealership to centralize all of that in one platform. It does all of that. Since we have one database of customers, we are able to produce targeted ads to those customers, whether they're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. When they come to the website, we just escort them right into where they were, right into the exact car they were looking for. And then when they're ready to buy it, the price remains the same as they go throughout the process. And so you probably did have a very different experience with dealerships, depending upon how bought in they are to this concept of a unified customer experience that's as personalized as possible. And so that's what it is that we do. We try to make, and we've seen a direct impact when you make it easy for customers to just kind of go from an initial engagement to a final transaction, and you make it a little bit more like, I don't know if you've ever heard of companies like Carvana. You probably have. But they make it very easy to buy a car, and very, very easy. And that's why they're, companies worth $30 billion, more than most OEMs now. All because they've taken a centralized approach from beginning to end, and they built their own platform from the ground up. Car dealers stitch together 8, 9, 10 solutions, and it just doesn't work, and it's never going to work. And that's why we conceived of Apollo, because we've been in the business a long time. We were part of the single point solutions. And that's why we knew that you were going to have to build one platform from the ground up to really pull it off. But it's been a monster.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it to your point, I mean, it sounds like in the automotive space, at least from what I know of it, that can be much greater implication in terms of the fragmentation in the technology space for automotive solutions. But I think we even see that in other industries too, right? Like some of what you just described happens in a normal online or e-commerce purchase if the business or the seller isn't integrating and looking at data outside of individualized systems and silos. So it does make me think, though, when you look at integrating this data across all these different platforms or using a single, point source of solution, what is the role that data privacy plays in all of that?
Well, it's critical. The one thing about being in the car business is they are a massive target for attorney generals. They just, if you follow, state law, the federal law, they're a target. They just are, because there has been some bad apples, some bad characters in the space, and specifically when it comes to these privacy laws. Dealers sit on top of a gold mine of data. And when you're dealing with that data, when you're pulling it out of, say, an accounting system, we have every ounce of information on a customer: their birthday, where their loan is, how much they pay, how much they put down on their car. We don't get things like credit card information on purpose, or social security numbers purposely, although that is all in their systems. So you have to spend a considerable amount of money, effort, and energy. It's one of the biggest areas of our company is compliance, data, privacy, at many outside firms that audit our business, because the responsibility is massive. To house, for us, we handle about 2,000 car dealerships, and many of them are publicly traded, and they're huge. These are people who are billionaires, and multimillionaires is the norm. And there's a significant amount of risk involved if you don't do things right. And even when you do things right, we've seen some, breaches in our industry that are substantial, that have brought, dealers not even operational for weeks at a time when these breaches happen. So we could go on and probably have a whole show about that, but I would just say it's one of the biggest threats to businesses today is not taking privacy data compliance serious enough, because I think it's one of the things that can take a very good business and eliminate it in a short period of time.
Yeah, I think you're spot on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's scary. You never want to get an email from a business who you gave your data to, that they've been breached, and it seems it's becoming more and more common. So it's definitely a scary thing. But we were talking earlier how you are the founder of so many things, including data-driven holdings, and we got to find out that you own a number of data companies. So we want to get your take on data enrichment. So integrating data to enrich customer profiles specifically. Could we switch gears a little bit, and could you kick us off on this topic?
Sure. I'll do my best. It's you start somewhere, right? You've got to start, like I say, in this case, we're just starting with a customer, and we have some basic information on that customer, but you're not going to go too far with that, because you're certainly not going to create a personalized experience. So you have to start enriching the data. For example, you drive a certain vehicle. Let's say you drive I'll keep it easy, a Ford F-150, pretty popular vehicle. Well, people that drive Ford F-150s, we go back and look to see what other people that have a Ford F-150 buy the next time they buy a vehicle. And lo and behold, this is easy, because it's a Ford F-150, F-250, or an Explorer. So you enrich that data so that you're not offering those customers a Mustang, which 1 out of 100 trade an F-150 and roll out with a Mustang. And those are easy things, but you've also got to go enrich that data with shopping behavior. So once they are shopping for a new vehicle, it's much more specific at this point. Which is the exact vehicle? Do we have it in stock? You've got to add all of that into the identity graph. Are they a current customer? Do they have a loan? Do they have a payoff on that loan? Are they going to trade their vehicle in, or are they not going to trade their vehicle in? Do they like to finance vehicles or lease vehicles or pay cash? If they do like to finance vehicles, which is the bank that they used last time, which would be very likely a good bank, maybe to put them in this time, and so on and so on and so forth. I could really speak for a long time about this, but we're just having to enrich data constantly in order to provide the customer the very best experience. And sometimes I'll give you a simple one. You're coming in for service. We see that in Apollo. We've actually set the service appointment, but we cross-reference that and say, you know what? This customer has an open recall on their car. Most customers have no idea they have a recall on their car, because it's just difficult to notify millions of customers. And all right, great. Do we have the parts in stock in order to satisfy that recall while the customer's here? I mean, these are just simple but logical examples of how you have to, and then you let the customer know, hey, it looks like you have a recall on your vehicle. Good news is the parts are in stock, and we'd be able to do that work for you while you're here. We click here if you'd like us to do that, or no if you won't. So it's taken a long time to develop this, and I think that The hardest part has been really getting the platform, the plumbing and the electricity in place to enrich this data and all of the sources that we use in order to do it. What the customer never sees any of this. The customer just is like, wow, what a great experience. I really like working with this dealership. They're so good. They make everything just happens. In the background, of course, there's just mountains of technology crunching all day long, enriching our data so we can provide that wonderful customer experience. And that's the name of the game. And for today's consumer, experience and convenience are just as important as price.
Yes, absolutely. And data enrichment is required for that.
Indeed.
David, I do have a question on the data enrichment side. How do you balance the depth of customer profiles and the data that you put into a customer profile with kind of this risk of over personalizing or experiencing data fatigue?
I think just even years ago, Adam, there was this Amazon, I think, created the first borderline of like, is this creepy or cool? Like, is it creepy that they know what I'm going to buy before I buy it, and people who bought this, bought that, and they're constantly analyzing all of that, or is it cool? And
Did we get a freeze?
then they think we know. I'll tell you that by a long shot. The question is, are we going to use it, and what is too much? And sometimes that gets down to cost. Sometimes it's like, you know what, this is data that we could have, but is it actionable? Does it make a difference in the results that we're going to gather? So those are easy ones because there's just a return on investment for us, and we might not be able to monetize it. On the other hand, I think for us, it generally falls down to, is this going to deliver a materially different result to add this particular data to our car? I'll give you one example. That's something I was just working on before I got on this call. There's a major OEM, a big client of ours, and what they want to do is you know how in your car you have an engine light or an oil light that goes off?
Mm-hmm.
And so for a lot of people, that's the only time they go to the dealership. They just wait for that to happen and then they go. I don't know if that's how you are or not. You might get reminded.
Yeah.
For some people, that's how it is. Well, so that data, imagine that data flowing into our systems. And the moment it flows into our systems, we say, hey, Adam, the oil light went off in your car 2 miles ago. It looks like to us you're about 5 miles away. Here's a coupon for an oil change. Is that creepy? A little. Is it? So, but I think it's cool, but I wouldn't go that far. I think it might be nice to say, hey, Adam, we've noticed that the oil light is off in your car. We're the dealership. Just click here to schedule service, and we'd like to get you in. So you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think that data is fun. It's going to be a great project. Now at the end, we'll do a case study, and we'll say, were we able to service? Because what the OEM wants to do is to get that customer before they go to Jiffy Lube. Right. We would rather them come to a dealership and have that car, one of our dealerships, and have that car serviced. So I think that's an example of enriching data from an outside source. That's very, very cool, very doable, but you could overdo it and make it a little like, is someone listening to what I'm saying in this car? How do they know my oil light went off? But I think some customers will find that very convenient as long as it's done. It's right on that line, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is a fine line between creating an experience that is helpful and productive and being creepy or counterproductive in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little creepy, but it's also cool. Like let me take it further. Hey, Adam, it looks like your oil light went off. We've got a spot tomorrow at 1 o'clock if you'd like to come by and get it changed. Is that cool? Like, wow, my dealership that I go to anyway somehow knows my light went off, and they have a spot at 1 o'clock. A lot of people, and if not, let us know what's a good convenient time. See, I think that's cool.
I do too.
I'm also in the business of doing that, of executing that for my clients. So I think that would be a very logical. Some people might say too much, but I like to live. I think we try to live on the edge,
Right.
and I think this is a great question. Probably one of the best questions I've been asked in a long time, because we could go too far or we can go too little. Then it's not personalized enough. And I think that what marketers are trying to do and be responsible with privacy, right? We still have to be very responsible, but we're trying, like, where's that fine line?
Yeah. And sometimes I think those of us that are closer to the technology think that the more personalized it is, the cooler it is.
Right.
We have to rein ourselves in sometimes. Right?
Totally.
All of us we'd probably fall a little, not that it's your personality, but we might be a little more on the creepier side than the cool side.
Yeah.
It's a little odd, but it's highly personalized,
Right.
and I think customers will like it. I tend to have to get backed down by my people, because I'm like, why not? We know all this information. Why not just make it easier for the customer?
Yeah.
But there's there's some even basic things, like sometimes people fill out a form online, and you know how then you go somewhere and it doesn't remember it, and it just drives me so crazy.
Yeah.
Some people are like, no, we don't want to save the customer's information. I'm like, I've already filled it out. I don't want to, like, you go to the doctor's office, you're like, this is insane.
But we don't want to fill out a form. We just want them to know we visited their website and to give us a call.
Exactly. Exactly. So anyway, great question. Really good question. Very thoughtful.
Yeah, absolutely. How far is too far? But we haven't gotten into ads yet. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about, how ads drive personalized offers and sales, and specifically from your perspective, because we talk about ads a lot here on this show. But, what's your take on all of this, David?
The advertising, I think, is the part that's probably the coolest in some ways of how personalized it's become. So when we're advertising now, in the past, I can speak for our organization, I think we were advertising to generate an engagement or a lead, right? That's what we were doing. Now our advertising is geared much more around a transaction, right? We want to facilitate a transaction. So we integrate with the DMS, or the dealer management system, they call it. And we're able to determine, did the person that engaged transact? And if so, how long did they take to transact? What did they do before they transacted? So the ads that we're sending out now are much more transaction oriented than lead oriented. And so we try to drive everybody to an Amazon-like experience. When I mean Amazon, when you visit Amazon or I visit Amazon, it says, welcome, David. Oftentimes it says, pick up where you left off, right? That's the Amazon line. And wherever I left off last time, that's where they start me. And the emails that I receive or the advertising that I receive is all based upon that shopping experience. And they're doing it to create a transaction, not a lead. So a lot of the advertising that we're doing today, say on someone who's going to buy a car, and you have, you're leasing a vehicle, you've got 3 payments remaining. We're going to send you advertising that says that, hey, you've got a vehicle, you're leasing it, you have 3 payments remaining, you qualify for an early turn-in and no additional fees. You can turn your vehicle in 90 days early. You can get a new one for the same payment. If you'd like to take advantage of this upgrade program through Ford or whomever, click here. And it doesn't take you to a form that says, I'm interested. It takes you to the vehicle that you're most likely to get the next time, or really we do 3 vehicles, but the 3 vehicles you're most likely to lease, and within buttons, you can schedule delivery of that vehicle let's say in this case, 90 days before you would be turning the vehicle in anyway. Why? Because I want to get you out of that car and not in the market. I don't want you out shopping for another car. I want you turning that car in, which is good for the dealership, getting into a new one, but I got to make it easy for you to do that. So advertising, for whether I could give you many examples on the service side or the sales side, but I would say our advertising is, because of the technology, we are able to be much more specific, hyper personalized in our approach. And then mostly because we control the landing spot, not just the ad, but where you land and where you go from there, because we do the whole, our solution is an all-in-one solution, includes websites and CRM and all that stuff in between. That's what I've enjoyed a lot over the years that's changed, is I used to advertise to generate awareness and leads, and now we're generating transactions. And so it's just fun. It's just more, it's a better benchmark.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
It's interesting because you hear a lot of marketers, especially in recent years, have referred to this marketing funnel, right? And so using specific tactics to reach buyers in different stages of the buying journey. But when you're able to leverage technology and leverage data specifically at a much deeper and a much more granular level, then you are able to make sure that you shift most of those dollars to be focused, to your point, on the transaction, on the purchase,
Yeah.
on generating the revenue, and do it in a way that creates an incredibly personalized and incredibly relevant buying process for the buyer that really resonates with them.
Yeah, we're down to low. We spend 90% of our clients' money in lower funnel, and as you would call it, or in the transaction stage. I mean, when someone's Googling a product and they do that 4 times, and they've gone to the site 4 times through, they're moving down the funnel, right? They're where we want, and it's 2018 Toyota 4Runner for sale near me. Okay, I mean, this guy's into, or girl is into something specific. So we've just learned over the years, as we've become more data oriented, that we can direct our efforts more in the customers who are, I will call them buyers versus shoppers, just to keep it a simple term. And let's let the manufacturer look. We don't create brand awareness on a Ford F-150. They create beautiful commercials. You see them on TV every weekend, right? Or a Toyota, or whatever it might be. They're doing all that. Let's put our money into the people that are likely to buy one from us and make their experience incredible. And so that's just been a big shift from in my own organization. I'd say from 2005 to 2025, that probably has shifted more than anything. So we used to do the funnel on the brand, put money here, put money there, put money there. We're lower funnel now, and that's where the transactions are. And there's plenty of fish in the lower funnel. We don't need to. We'll let other people worry about that.
Yeah. Well, I think what I hear you saying too is that it's less of an emphasis on trying to reach people in the early research, Google about buying a car stage, and it's more about leveraging the data that you're capturing on those people to integrate seamlessly across the whole buying journey, and ultimately more effectively reach them with language and creative that's going to push them into the transaction stage when they're ready to buy.
Precisely. And what we've even done is, and we just released this a couple months ago, we worked on it forever, is we looked at thousands and thousands of transactions. We used AI, we had data models, we had data scientists, we had all these people that looked at what do customers do before they buy a car. I mean, kind of a broad statement, right? And we started applying modeling to that. And then we came up with a point system on a just a very simple scale of 0 to 100. And what we've been able to do is to model customers. So when we provide the dealers the names of the customers that we think are most likely to buy a car, we call them deal alerts. They come with a point total. And so generally speaking, when we get to about 65 to 85 points, that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to start turning your attention to, because these customers are acting like and doing things like other customers did that bought cars. Some of it's simple that you guys would say, okay, like what? Something as basic as how many times did you visit the website and look at the same car?
Mm-hmm.
That's a simple one. Some might be, do you have a current vehicle that's that brand? Because 63% of the people who have a Ford F-150 buy another one. That's a point. Are you in a loan that would allow you to get out of that car? Or did you buy it in 2020 and pay 10 grand over sticker? So no matter, you know what I mean? Your payment's going to go up $500 a month and the interest rates are now 8%. That might be negative points, and so on and so forth. How many times did you use Google? And on and on. So we've actually turned this whole model into something that is manageable for a dealership, because they can't sometimes follow all the incredible intricacies of what we do. So we have to boil it down into something that they can take action with. Hey, here's David Boice. He's likely going to buy I'll stick with a Ford F-150 XLT white. He'll probably finance it. We think he's going to buy a car in the next 4 to 7 days. And his point total is 87. And here's how we got to 87. boom, boom, boom. It's all in a nice little package for them to text, call, chat, whatever they want to do with this customer to finish this deal off. And I could go on and on, but it's pretty exciting, we think, because we're constantly trying to take something that's really difficult and make it really simple for the people who have to actually execute it, you know?
Yep.
100%. And speaking of calling, we had a comment, I don't know if you saw it pop up, from Mark Jarrow, and he says, my peeve, if I reach out to a dealership for an inquiry online and they don't call within the hour, they are losing business.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we do. So, see, one of the challenges is, and I know you would say, gosh, this can't possibly be true. If you watched how that lead, let's just say you submit an inquiry, you would call a lead, and you something as basic as you just want to check to see if the vehicle is still available in stock. Let's go with something very basic like that, or maybe get a payment quote with taxes and tags and fees or whatever it might be. You would think that lead would go straight into a system, and that system would immediately send you, hey, I got your inquiry. We're going to call you in a few minutes. And a call would happen in a few minutes. At our dealerships, it does happen that way because it's one system. But at most dealerships, there are multiple systems. And this lead that's generated on this website has got to go through this maze of different places to the OEM and lots of different places. And then it ends up in the dealer's CRM. That CRM, more often than not, is 20 to 25 years old. I'm not kidding. It's the business is dominated. Our business is dominated by legacy technologies that have been around for 20, 25 years. Mm-hmm. And your lead probably is stuck in the middle of a whole bunch of other leads that they haven't gotten to yet. So they're behind. And it's just not a very, it's more antiquated. That sounds crazy in 2024 to believe that that's how it could be, especially when you're inquiring on a vehicle. The average new car today is $48,000. I mean, this is not a small purchase for customers. So sorry that happens. I agree. If they don't get back to you within an hour, it's a pretty good indication that they're not going to provide you a very good experience. But give one of our dealers a try, and I think you'll have a better experience.
Hopefully you're still listening, Mark, and you heard that. But we need to make sure we've got 10 minutes that we hear your favorite tools in your tech stack. David, this is something we ask all of our guests. So looking forward to hearing what you say.
Well, I'm probably not like a technology. I own technology companies, but so I'll give you some of my favorites, but they may not be the most technical, coolest things that you've ever heard on your show. One of my favorites for sure is I love the new technology because to me it's exciting, and that's probably some of the stuff we're doing with AI. So I'll give you two examples of technology in our tech stack that I love. One is AI has this incredible ability to produce videos. Well, they're really not videos, but they kind of look like videos. For all intents and purposes, it's a video. And people don't want to read anymore. That's crazy, but no one wants to read the Wall Street Journal. They'd rather just watch a short video. And the whole internet is full of short form video because it's the most popular content that people consume. So cars are just no different. Most dealerships' websites have tons and tons and tons and tons of information on them about a car. But what we do is take all that information using AI and generate in a second and a half a video that's dynamic for that car at that time, meaning it's in stock. The price could have changed 20 minutes ago, which means the payments would change. The rebates might have changed on the vehicle. And so it takes all the key information on the car and it creates a video. And that part is cool. But the part that's coolest to me is about a year ago, the video sounded exactly like a computer generated voice. So some of our clients didn't like that. Now, just with the way AI has evolved, it's just beyond impressive to me that we can choose from like 30 quality, at least 30. There's probably more than that, but we narrowed it down to 30 quality voices that when you put a little music behind it, you can't even tell it's not a human. I mean, and it can be English, male, female, young, old, whatever, urban, not. I mean, it's just incredible how all that works. So I love the fact that we're now able to produce at scale content that consumers love because it's very popular content, and they may not care if it's generated by AI or not, but it's very impressive to me. It's one of my favorite things. When I show friends videos, half of them will say that's a human, and the other half would say, I think that might be AI.
Well, that's pretty good odds. 50-50, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it depends upon the person and the industry. All of us would probably say, I bet you that's AI, but
Right.
the average consumer, which is who we're dealing with, that I don't think they care. I just care that they're getting what they want in the format that they want it in. And then also AI, another example of it is we create these, what we call workflows using AI. So if you're on a dealer's website, there's like 10 or 15 things that are really popular that most customers would do. I'll give you an example of a very common one that you might do at your dealership. Schedule service. You just want to schedule a service appointment. So you go to the dealer's website, you click schedule service, and that's not that great. The service schedulers that are out there are very old. They're very complex, and we created an AI service scheduler, and about 10 or 12 other things. I want to find a vehicle. I want to research a vehicle. I would like to get pre-qualified in a loan. These just are common things that happen on the dealer's website. So we took all the most common things, we used AI, and we created these, we call them digital workflows. And it is shocking how many people will use them. And then at the end of it, we give them one of those little surveys. It's not a survey. It's just, was this excellent, average, or poor? That's it. You just click one of those three. And if it's excellent, great. Thank you. If it's average or poor, we give you a little, 100 characters to say why, and then they'll tell us why. The AI score is higher than any forms. It scores higher than calling the dealership and speaking with a real human, right? Because it's press 1, press 2, you're on hold. You got to tell everybody what you want. The AI does a better job than any other form of scheduling a service appointment. I mean, we have clients who schedule thousands of appointments online using this AI generated tool, which is very logical. Just walks you right through it. Hey, are you a current customer? Yes. Put your phone number in. Great. Is this you, Jesse? Yes. Is this the vehicle you like to have service? Yes. Last time you came in on Saturday. Is that what you like this time? It's just like that.
Yeah, and, like convenience.
It's just so convenient. And you just, especially on these, right? Nobody wants to spend time filling out forms and all this stuff. It's just like, yes, it's Jesse. This is my car. I'd like to come in Saturday. Well, here's a couple coupons that we noticed that you qualify for. Do you want to apply one of these? Yes, done. See you Saturday. Over. 30 seconds, you're out. And that's just been a lot of fun. Those are some of my favorite things in the tech stack. I guess both of them are really AI, but used in very different ways. One, to generate videos that humans could never do, certainly at scale and at that cost. And the other is to make it easy for customers to just get something done.
Absolutely. No, that's a great one. Thank you for sharing that. I'm not sure anyone's shared an AI video tool yet. So that's a good one. But in closing, David, would you like to tell the listeners how they can find you if they wanted to reach out after the show?
I think our website, the main company that we own is Team Velocity, and it's just easy. Our URL is teamvelocitymarketing.com, and it's full of everything you would need to know about the company. And I think there's a really good overview video on our main product, Apollo, that's less than 5 minutes. I think that's one of the best ways to learn about our company and what we do. And of course, anybody who would want more information could just fill out a contact form, and we'll be sure to contact you in less than an hour.
Now, David, I'm curious because I spent some time on your site and I watched that video. At least I think the one that you're referencing. Is that an AI video or a human video?
So, see, so I'll give you a secret. The graphics were generated by some of our design team, but the voice is actually AI, and our CMO's voice. She's got a very good voice, but she recorded but in order to get it perfect, rather than having a human her do it, which she's done in the past for 6 hours, if you've ever done this kind of work, she just recorded herself, and then AI came back and created the entire thing. She gave it to the staff, and voila, we had a video. So it's AI. The
Wow.
voice is AI, but I can't tell the difference.
I couldn't either, but it sounds like it's the best of both worlds. It's a combination of the two, and
we're even using it, in our own kitchen.
Yeah, well, really impressive work that you guys are doing. This has been an awesome conversation, David. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you guys, Adam and Jesse. I really enjoyed my time with you, and congratulations on the success of your program. And we'll look forward to maybe getting back together soon.
Yeah, we absolutely would love to have you back on again. And before we go, really quick, I'm going to pull up a QR code for all of our guests who are watching on video. Of course, if you're not on video and you're listening to this later on podcast, just go to bdex.com and click on the Talk to an Expert button to get to the page that the QR code is sharing. But we want to invite you to get powered by BDEX and build authentic connections with your audience that drive unprecedented engagement, like we were talking about with AI. It's all so much easier. So just imagine harnessing the power of AI to craft your audiences to truly resonate with your messaging and ensuring your marketing hits every time. So we want to bring you closer to those marketing goals, and we're eager to guide you. So just use that QR code, or like I said, just go to bdex.com and click on Talk to an Expert, and you will reach Adam or someone from the team there, and we would love to help you. And for anyone curious about deconstructing data, we would love to have someone that you know on the show. If you have someone in mind who you think would make a great guest, send their name our way to info@bdex.com. And also, if you have any other thoughts or ideas about the show, send them our way. Send us all your qualitative data to us so we can keep this show better for you. And thank you again, David, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
I'm going to go ahead and close this out with a video. Bye, everyone.